Hello, this is Christina with the Stage Nature Center. I'm going to give it just a second here. I don't see anybody checked in yet. Just waiting to give people a chance to check in. Okay, I see a couple of people are checking in now. Hello again. This is Christina with the Stage Nature Center, and I'm here today for another live stream on our Facebook page to talk about another animal ambassador here at the Nature Center. So I hope everybody is doing well. In just a minute, I'm going to tell you a little bit about a fundraiser that we're doing today to help us name our crayfish. But I'm going to give us a chance for a few more people to sign in before I go into those details, so people don't miss that. But I'll start off with the basics here. I'm a naturalist here at the Stage Nature Center, and hello. And I am here to take care of the animals that still live at the Nature Center even during this closure and quarantine. I'm here to take care of these animals and also to continue to share them with you, even though we're closed right now. Our trails are open dawn to dusk, but our building is closed until at least April 30th, unless things change. Keep your eyes out on our website to find out any updates. We encourage that if you come out on the trails, that you definitely practice social distancing. Make sure that you keep 6 feet apart. We want to make sure that people are still safe. Hello, that people are still safe and are healthy. So just make sure that when you come out here and are enjoying the trails, that you're still respecting the social distancing and giving everybody space. This video will be available later on our website as well as on this Facebook page. So if you missed part of it, you can watch it later on today. Today we have a special fundraiser that we're doing to name our crayfish. Now, before I get into that, I just want to mention that some of you who have been here before probably know that we do programs to get people out in nature and learning a little bit more about their local nature around here in Troy and Michigan. Hello. And we aren't able to do those programs right now, obviously. Like a lot of places, we can't do those programs. We are a nonprofit organization, so the Stage Nature Center is run by the Troy Nature Society and supported by the City of Troy. And one of the main ways we get funds to keep doing what we do is the fees from our programs. So unfortunately, we can't do those right now. Unfortunately, not just because we can't get funds, but because we can't have you guys come out here and learn all about this wonderful nature. So we can't do that right now, which means that we are obviously a little bit tight in funds. We need to keep taking care of these animals and making sure that the Nature Center will open back up, which we do look forward to seeing you all when we do open back up. So if you have it in your means to donate, we would appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this naming fundraiser that is happening today for the crayfish. So if you have joined us previously, you have met some of our other animal ambassadors here at the Nature Center, which, just to remind you, an ambassador animal is an animal that helps represent their species and teaches about them. So these animals that we have here are not our pets. They're native animals that represent the animals that you would see out here in the wild in Michigan, and they're here to help teach about them and connect people with them. And they're not our pets. But we have given names to some of them, and some of them don't have names. So we thought this might be a fun time, now that I'm coming up on animals to introduce to you that don't have names, to let you name them. And also that's a way of us to fundraise for them to help us with their care. So I'm going to give you some information here about the fundraiser and how it works, and then you're welcome to go back through this post later to listen to those instructions. The instructions will also be on our website later today, along with this video, and those instructions will also be on this Facebook page too. So I'm going to look over at a sheet here to make sure I don't miss anything. So what we're going to do is today, starting today now, you're going to place your best donation between today and 12 p.m. on April 23rd, which is this coming Thursday. You're going to place your best donation on, and I'll tell you that there's 2 ways you can do that. And the highest donation that we receive will have the rights to name our crayfish, which will be a lot of fun. And then on Friday, the next live stream that I do at 1 p.m., I will announce the winner. Now, in the event of a tie, if we have several people that donate the highest amounts and they're the same amounts, then the earliest donation that we receive will be the winner. So that's how we'll decide if there's a tie. Let's see. So again, the winning donor will be announced this Friday during the live Facebook program. And again, all donations will benefit the care and feeding of the Nature Center's live animals. So this is very helpful to us, and we really appreciate it. Of course, the TNS staff, we do reserve the right to approve the name and make sure that it's an appropriate name. So once we get those submissions and once we announce the winner, we will talk with the winner or get the winner's suggestion for naming the crayfish. So you can donate one of 2 ways for this fundraiser. You can donate right now here on Facebook. There should be a donate button as part of this post. You can hit donate and then donate whatever amount that you want to donate. And then you would want to send us a private message through Facebook to indicate what your donation is and send the crayfish name you are submitting. The other way you can donate is you can go to our website, stagenaturecenter.org, and actually you'll have the link posted in later on Facebook to the link that you can go to donate. Once you click the link for the donation page, you're going to enter your best donation under the donation amount section, and then you're going to choose crayfish in the drop-down menu, and that reads, would you like to specify a particular fund? So you'll choose crayfish. Then you're going to fill out the payment information, enter your favorite name for the female crayfish in the comment section at the bottom of that page, and that's if you donate through the website. So again, these instructions will also be available on our website later today, along with the video of today's live stream. So you can go to troynaturesociety.org/nature-at-home. So that you can go to our website. Again, that will be posted here. So if you want to help name our crayfish, again, highest donation will receive the rights to name our crayfish. I'll start off by letting you know that our crayfish is a female, so she does have the female reproductive parts. So if that helps you come up with some fun names, then that would be great. I'll mention a little bit about this again here in the end. I don't have the crayfish out yet, but she is in the tank right behind me here. I don't know if you can see these rocks right here. She is hiding underneath there. So in just a little bit here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to put some food in there for her to come out, hopefully come out, and so you'll get a better look at her. And then after she's done eating, if she seems up to it, I will bring her out of her tank for just a brief moment so you can see her up close. We don't handle her a lot. She likes to stay in the water, so I'm not going to keep her out for too long a period of time. If she seems like she's up to it, we don't make our animals do anything that they don't seem like they're up to. But like I said, yep, she is hiding very well right now underneath those rocks. So let's talk a little bit about crayfish before I bring her out. Crayfish are an animal that are actually pretty common here in Michigan's rivers and streams and ponds. And they're a really neat animal to have, and they're an important part of the food chain. So let me show you here. This is not our live crayfish. This is a crayfish that, like we have of other animals here, died somehow, and so we brought it in so that way we can share it with you and you can learn more about it. So this is what a crayfish looks like. Now, the crayfish we see in the water typically are not this bright orange. This is what happens to their exoskeleton after they die. And it's exposed to the air. It will turn an orangish color sometimes. So that's why this one is this color. But most of the crayfish that we're going to see in our streams that are native, which means they belong here in Michigan, are not this color. They're browns, blues, grays. There are some that have a rusty color, and then there are a couple that are red and bright orange, but those species are not native, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. But back to what a crayfish is. So crayfish, they are invertebrates. All the animals that we have met so far are vertebrates. Like me, they have a backbone, and they have vertebrae, and they also have a skeleton inside, endoskeleton. Vertebrates, like our crayfish, have an exoskeleton, which is basically their skeleton is on the outside. So invertebrates include things like insects, spiders, roly-polies, worms, jellyfish. Invertebrates make up a large portion of the wildlife we find on this planet. So crayfish are invertebrates. They are actually cousins to lobsters. So if they think they look like a mini lobster, they kind of do. I definitely agree. I think that. Crayfish are also called, they're also known as crawdads is another word for them. Crawfish is another word for them. And they are found, like I think I said, lakes and rivers and burrows on dry land. Sometimes you'll even see their little, what's the word for it? Tunnels, or their, I can't think of the word for it right now. They're little tunnels on land where you can see that they've burrowed under the ground. So this is a little bit about what a crayfish looks like. This is actually a pretty large crayfish. You can see the size of my hand here. They can get this large. The crayfish that we have here at the Nature Center is called a virile crayfish. Can be known as the northern crayfish. Let me show you this here. This is a poster that shows some of the different species of crayfish you can find here in Michigan. I apologize again that I could not get this button or get the image switched around so you could read it, but as long as you can see the pictures. So these are some of the different colors of crayfish you're going to see here in Michigan. This crayfish right here is an invasive species, which means this is the species of crayfish that is not supposed to be here in Michigan, but is found in our rivers and streams. And then this is another invasive species. So this is called the rusty crayfish, and this is the red swamp crayfish, both invasive species here in Michigan. All right, now I don't know if I've lost comments. This happened to me the past couple times, so I know you guys are welcome to leave comments, and please also leave questions, but I don't see anything showing up, so I'm not sure what is happening with that. So please put your comments and questions, and then after this post I'll go back through and read them because I love to see them, and I don't like not being able to see what you guys are saying, but please leave your comments and questions anyway, so that way I can see what you all are saying. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and feed our crayfish. I'm going to, so for just a moment, you'll see just the crayfish behind me, and, well, the tank anyway. Watch underneath these rocks right here, because that's where she'll come out from. And then I'm going to put some food in there for her. And then I'll come back and get the video closer on her and tell you a little bit more about crayfish. So let me bring this up here a little bit closer so you can see. I'm going to go put some food in there for her, and I will be right back. All right, I'm going to turn the video around here. Decided to come out, and there she is. See if I can get it to focus a little bit better here. Here we go. So there is our crayfish. She was underneath that rock, but again, she is getting some food now. Her food are like kind of like dog pellets. They're a fortified diet that has all the stuff that they need. Crayfish have a variety in their diet. They like to eat insects. They like to eat small invertebrates, other small invertebrates, and occasionally they'll eat small frogs. In fact, sometimes when we have collected animals from our pond so people can see them up close, we have to separate the crayfish from the tadpoles, because the crayfish, if they're left in there long enough, will eat the tadpoles. You see if I can get closer here and see if the camera will focus. You can see her using her legs there to feel around for the food. So, sorry. So they're what we, oops, sorry, I lost her. They're what we consider opportunistic omnivores, which means that they eat both plants and animals. And they also feed on live and decaying vegetation. So they're very important in ponds because they help with the food chain. They also, I'm sorry if I'm getting the reflection, I'm here getting the window behind us. Let me see if I can, there we go. She's decided to take a little walk to the back of the tank here. So they're very important in pond ecosystems and rivers because they eat a lot of they're an important part of the food chain, but they also help to eat decaying vegetation, which helps to keep the cycle of nutrients going in a pond. They also eat insect larvae, like they'll eat dragonfly larvae, for example. We've seen crayfish try to do that. They'll eat also other small fishes, and they'll also eat dead animal matter, which again is very important for the cycle, the food cycle in an aquatic environment. So crayfish, as you probably have noticed, are very shy and secretive. That's why she was hiding underneath her rocks here until we had food for her to come out and eat. So otherwise they like to hide, and so that's one reason we don't see them very often. When a crayfish senses danger, they'll raise their pinchers that you can see really well here in front. They'll raise their pinchers and they'll arch their back, or they'll shoot backwards in the water, which is actually quite startling when they do this. But those are some of their defense mechanisms if something is trying to eat them, because there's a lot of different things that will eat them as well. If you remember, a few weeks ago we met one of our owls that lives here at the Nature Center, our barred owl. Her name was Sam. Barred owls like to eat crayfish. Raccoons eat crayfish. All sorts of different types of birds, mammals will eat crayfish, so they're an important part of the food chain. Now, I mentioned earlier that crayfish are cousins of the lobster. They're also called crawfish, crawdads, and I also like this one. They're called mud bugs. They're not insects, but they are invertebrates like other insects are. So crayfish, they don't necessarily live a very long life. They can live about 2 to 3 years. We actually got this crayfish last summer, and when we got her, she was probably, I would say, maybe a quarter of this size. So she was very small. She was very young. Don't know her exact age, but I would be willing to bet that she's probably, I don't know, maybe a little over a year old. She was pretty small when we got her last summer. And they can grow up to be about 5 inches in length. Now, females, they'll lay hundreds of eggs that they carry with them, that the females carry with them until they hatch in about 2 to 20 weeks. And the baby crayfish, they look just like the adult crayfish. except they're a lot smaller, and they'll grow and shed their exoskeleton pretty often. So we've had her shed her exoskeleton quite frequently as she has grown. They will eat their exoskeleton for more nutrients. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the exoskeleton is the outer part of their body. They have that structure on the outside instead of an endoskeleton like humans have, like we have. Let's see. Looks like she's kind of relaxed back there. So a lot of times when you find crayfish, you'll want to look underneath things like rocks or logs in the water, because that's where they like to hide, like you saw her hiding. She was very shy when we first got her, and for a while she didn't come out. And now she comes out more frequently, especially when she sees us. If she sees us, she knows that maybe food is on the way, and she'll come out. And believe it or not, they're actually pretty good climbers. So on the top of this tank, we have a rock on the lid, because she does like to climb up sometimes to the very top of that filter in the back, all the way up to the top, and we don't want her to accidentally escape. So you can see her moving around here. Let's see if she picks up another piece of food. She's going back to the area now where I had dropped some food for her. She might hear me talking or feel the vibrations and wonder what's going on. Oh, there she is. She's looking for food. Let's see if she picks one up. So it looks like she might be picking some stuff up and eating. I don't know if you can see her mouth parts are moving pretty fast back there. Let's see if she'll turn so we can see it. She's going to go exploring a little bit more. So while we watch her here a little bit more, I mentioned earlier about invasive species of crayfish. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And oh, that just reminds me that I forgot to say happy 50th Earth Day to everybody, because today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is really exciting. So if you have a chance to do something today to celebrate Earth Day, even if it's just getting outside a little bit while practicing social distancing, I highly encourage you to do it. So, you know, one of the things that we like to talk about for Earth Day are things that you can do to help the environment. Now, for crayfish, one of the big things that causes them problems, our native species, are invasive species. So again, native species are species that are found and have lived in that area for a really long time. Invasive species or exotic species are species that were introduced into that area, and they become invasive when they start taking over. So we have 8 native species of crayfish in Michigan, and then we have 2 invasive species. I mentioned earlier the red swamp crayfish and the rusty crayfish. Both species live naturally in other states in Michigan. So they probably traveled here through humans, because humans will bring them into different areas because crayfish make great bait. But unfortunately, these invasive species, some of them can be quite aggressive, like the red swamp crayfish, especially aggressive about outcompeting the native crayfish for food and resources. So the invasive species will take the food and the resources before the native species can get to it, which then means that our native species have a harder time surviving, which disrupts the food chain, because then the animals that live here that would normally depend on maybe these native species might have more problems if there's an invasive species that lives in the area. So one of the things that we can do and that we can think about, especially on a day like Earth Day, where we're trying to celebrate the earth and think about things we can do to help our environment, is make sure that we don't contribute to the problem of invasive species. So one thing you don't want to do is transport animals from one place to another. Even if they're a native species, it's not a good practice to bring them in, take care of them, and then put them back out into the environment, because they could introduce diseases and things like that that they got in captivity to the wild environment, wild species. But also invasive species, you don't want to bring in a species that doesn't live here and then release them into the environment, because then they can take over. So don't transport animals, don't bring in animals and then release them. That's definitely something that's very important. It's actually banned here in Michigan to have red swamp crayfish and rusty crayfish and release them, which some commercial fishing companies will do because they make great bait. They'll sell them as bait to people, but it's actually banned from doing that anymore, because we don't want people who then buy them to release them into our ponds and streams. Another important thing you can do is help with litter, help with pollution, especially when you think about aquatic environments. Oh, looks like she's picking up stuff. Aquatic environments, you know, we try to keep clean. Oh, is she gonna go hide? We try to keep clean. We try not to put trash in them. You know, when you put things in the water, it can travel a long way from where you first put it in. So not putting chemicals into the water, not putting trash into the water is very important. We do have a group of Friends of the Rouge, which is also a nonprofit volunteer group, and they do a lot of wonderful things to monitor the Rouge River, which is the river that comes here through the Stage Nature Center grounds. They will monitor it for pollutants and for environmental quality. They also help to clean up the Rouge River. They do surveys of animals that live along the Rouge River watershed. And there's a lot of groups like this. I mentioned the Rouge River group because the Rouge River is the one that comes through here, and they will come onto our property and monitor the part of the river that comes through our property. So it looks like she's gonna go hide. I am going to go see if I can bring her out for a moment so you can meet her. So I'm gonna put the video camera back down here. I'm gonna turn it back around, and then I'm gonna set it right back here. Oops. All right, so she's gone back under her cave. I'm gonna see if I can convince her to come out, so that way we can meet her and you can see her a little bit closer. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here she is. Like I said, I'm not going to keep her out very long because she likes to be in the water, and she doesn't she doesn't get handled a lot. We do bring her out when we are cleaning her tank, so she's somewhat used to being handled. She's not that too terribly difficult for me to get her out. If you try to catch a wild crayfish, you may have noticed when I was going in to get her, she pushed herself backwards really fast. That's one thing that they'll do to try to escape. They'll also use their pinchers to try to escape and to keep you away from them. But she was actually pretty calm about me bringing her out. So you can see her moving all of her legs around here. You can see her big pinchers there in front. You might be able to see her eyes a little bit better there on the very top. Oh, now there we go. The very top of her head. Let me see if I can turn her around so you can see her tail. So there's her tail. Pretty strong for for a little animal to be able to move around through the water pretty efficiently and pretty quickly. So again, they do like to hide, so they're not something that you get to see very often unless you're keeping your eyes open or you're looking underneath things. So if you're doing a pond exploration, it's a good idea if you're trying to find crayfish to turn over rocks and things like logs that they might be hiding underneath. So like I said, she was quite a bit smaller when we got her. She was probably about this big when we got her, and she's grown quite a bit. She, like I said, we do feed her a pellet food, which she seems to love, and she gets fed several times a week, if not more than that. And she has grown pretty fast. So hopefully we'll have her for a couple more years. I think she was pretty young when we got her. It's hard to say exactly how old, but she was quite a bit smaller. So hopefully we'll have her still more for a few years because they can live to be 2 to 3 years old or so. So if you have any names and you want to donate to help name her, like I said, you can donate on our page here on this Facebook post, or you can go onto our website and donate. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and put her back because she's been very, very good, very calm, and I want to put her back while she's not too stressed. So I'm going to go put her back in the tank, and you might see her go back underneath her rock when I put her back in. All right. I don't know if you saw her when I put her in. She did do that thing. Oops. Let me see if I can get this to focus. Where they shoot backwards in the water to get away from whatever it is that might be a threat to them. Sorry, this is catching reflection in this corner of the tank. She didn't go right underneath her rocks. She did a little bit of a backflip when I put her in, which I was not expecting. And there you can see she's actually trying to climb a little bit, going up backwards, but hey, that works. All right. So I'm going to back around here. There you go. So you can still see her behind me. So I hope you enjoyed meeting our crayfish and learning a little bit more about her, getting to see her eat a little bit. Like I mentioned in a previous post, I think it's fascinating the different ways different animals eat. So I enjoy watching them do that. And she's one of our lesser known animal ambassadors here. So a lot of people who come to the Nature Center don't realize that we have a crayfish, or they just glance into the tank and don't see that she is in there. So when you come, when we do reopen and you come and visit, make sure you come check out the tank, see if you can see her. I don't see her right now. Oh, yep, she's in the back still. Come see if you can see her hanging out in her tank. Again, you know, I'm going to mention again that the naming fundraiser. So if you donate today, or between now and 12 p.m. on Thursday, the highest donation that we receive will get to name her. And you can do that still through Facebook. You can do that even after this live stream ends, or you can go to our website and do that. And that information will be posted later today after this live stream ends, and that will be up on our website. So we appreciate you guys participating in the fundraiser. We're going to do a few more of these with some other animals that we have coming up. We still have a green frog to name, a leopard frog, and our brown snake. So we will be doing those upcoming. We'll let you know when those are coming up, and when you'll get to meet them and talk a little bit about them as well. So again, I hope you all enjoy this 50th anniversary of Earth Day. It's a wonderful thing to celebrate. It's wonderful to think that we are still going strong with it 50 years later. And you know, we hopefully will be keeping the environment in mind every day. But you know, always think of those things that you can do to help the environment, even if it's as simple as picking up some trash, to something like not spreading invasive species of crayfish or other animals, because there's a lot of different invasive species of animals and plants, and these are things you can learn more about from a lot of different resources. Like the Michigan Department of Natural Resources has a lot of great information on their website about different invasive species that can cause problems and the regulations that are involved with those species. So you can learn more about that, share what you've learned with others, help to keep the environment clean, do some surveys. You know, like I mentioned before, you can help with different surveys like the frog and toad surveys, where you go out and you listen for their calls and you report what you see. So there's so many different things you can do to celebrate the earth and help it. So I hope we do something today to help celebrate the earth. And again, I haven't seen any comments coming in, so I'm guessing that they're not, that I'm just not seeing them. I apologize for that. We can't really figure out why this has changed. I was seeing the comments in the earlier live streams that I was doing, and now we don't seem to see them anymore. So I will go back through after this post and look through your comments and questions. And again, go to our website later you can see this video later and some of the other videos if you've missed them. Again, I hope to see you guys soon. We do miss you all. We miss doing programs and getting outside and helping to share our love of the natural world with you. But at least I get to continue to do this, where I can share these amazing things with you. We will be doing another live Facebook stream this coming Friday at 1 p.m. I'm not going to announce the topic today because we are still working on what we are going to do, but it's going to be a fun, it will definitely be a fun topic. So in the next day or two, we will announce what I'll be talking about on Friday. So keep your eyes open for that on our Facebook page to see what you'll be learning about on Friday, this coming Friday at 1 p.m. So thank you for tuning in today. Again, I hope to see you all soon, and especially when we reopen, hope you come back and come see all these amazing animals that we have in our nature center. So I hope you take care, and I will see you on Friday. Thank you. Bye.